Okay.
Kirti Fatania-Bassendine.
All right. So, tell us a little bit about what made you want to do this project in general.
Sure. As a photographer, fine art photographer, I've always been interested in social issues, and I was in Atlanta, Georgia for many years, and I became interested in this homeless project through the Occupy movement in 2011. I started photographing, interviewing, and visiting the shelters there, and the compelling stories that they had to share. The project was put on hold as I had the opportunity to travel, and I came to the Southwest, and as I traveled through California, started seeing a lot of homeless families through the fires, a lot of different tragedies. I had the opportunity here in Gilroy, we're settled here in Morgan Hill, and I had the opportunity of visiting some of the homeless community here. The numbers are rising more and more as time is going. The south, the Central Coast is there's huge numbers. 1 out of 10 child in school is homeless. Santa Cruz has a 7% rate. With all these numbers and seeing the parallel here in Gilroy, I started visiting some of the homeless families and individuals, and through Compassion Center as well as other shelters. And I started sharing this, listening to the stories and documenting, interviewing them, and it's just an amazing experience. My vision is to actually create a platform that has a space that dispels the myths, and the preconception of what homelessness is. They're not all drug addicts. They're not all mentally ill. The numbers are showing every single day the low, the high cost of living, the low income, the housing prices. These are all issues. These are normal, ordinary people that want to hear and want to be heard. And that's really what my vision is. And I'm planning our bigger vision. My bigger vision is to actually take this project to individual cities like Santa Cruz, Salinas, San Jose, and obviously San Francisco, and take the traveling exhibition and actually add the stories of the city and kind of talk a little bit, make a great conversation, and it's to cause awareness and compassion. We as public need to understand that these are normal, ordinary people.
And you already kind of answered like one of my follow-up questions of like what would be your goal, and you kind of answered, but do you mind just repeating it?
Yes. The goal for this project is the biggest scale, and I'm hoping to get funding for that, and that is to actually take this exhibition to individual cities and to actually exhibit it there, document and interview our homeless friends in that particular city, and hear the compelling stories and add to this exhibition. So I see this exhibition growing and each city being documented, and it's almost increasing as the homeless population is increasing. To let people know that it's not just one city, and it's not just one town. I think it's really important to understand that it's actually this problem, that the crisis we have is not just larger cities, it's actually the smaller towns. And that's where Gilroy comes in. I think that's where Gilroy is very special.
Right. And I totally agree, because as someone, I'm from Santa Cruz, and so I worked worked at the Riverfront Theater, which is right next to a lot of homeless encampments and whatnot. And firsthand, I get to see, I see almost all the time, like what they're facing a lot of times. And a friend of mine was homeless for a while, and he would come in and hang out with me and just tell me what's going on. And I really appreciate that, because it's something that I can't speak for myself. Being from my background, having a family, and my parents, living in my parents' house, I can't really relate to that. But I hear that, I'm like, wow, it's really fascinating to think about, what people are facing when living on the streets, and what their life has to become to survive.
Sure. Some of the compelling stories here are, a woman whose husband died of cancer, and she tried to survive and keep the house maintained, and after many months she lost the home, and she's out on the streets now. So there's divorce cases, there's illnesses, disability, spouses passing away, medical debt, the bust of the crash we had. The wildfires are a huge, impact on California right now. So I think for me, the vision right now is to take it to California, but I'm already getting friends and individuals from Atlanta and different places wanting me to take it to other states also.
We also there's also the GoFundMe page that I know you guys have started. Now, that's towards charity to help the homeless, right? Or can you explain
the GoFundMe account I created. I was lucky enough to actually get this location, the Gilroy Center for Arts in Gilroy. They were kind enough to open a space for me, but it was only about 8 weeks ago. And I had started the project, but I was really struggling with funding to pay for the printing and the cost and the production and the whole scale. So I was advised by people to actually create a fund. So the fund recouped about 50% of what the cost was for this particular exhibition. But the actual page, the GoFundMe, helped Kirti give the homeless a voice, is actually created for this project. It's for the bigger platform. It's to take it from one city to another. So we're really looking for a philanthropist, an individual or an organization, individuals who are able to help take this forward, move this mission forward.
I guess I've got two more questions. One of them being, what have your past projects been about, or are you? I know you were saying that you're planning on taking this exhibition to different cities and for the homeless there as well. Can you tell us a little more about like the future projects and your past projects and the social issues of those?
Sure. I grew up I was born in Kenya. I grew up in England. Always passionate with artist, painter. I was lucky enough to actually get into photography after struggling with graphic design and other art areas. The course was very unique. It actually encouraged you to conceptualize using the camera as a paintbrush, which is perfect because growing up in England as a minority from an immigrant family and in an Indian household, the struggle of being an Indian girl growing up in a Western, Eastern, the push and pull was really a difficult transition for me. So I used that personal project to create voices. And it's a role of an Indian woman from a school child to a mother, and the struggles of, and that, I would say, the feeling of oppression. That was received really well. It went into a lot of the magazines, British as well as Indian. It toured for 3 years. And now I'm currently working alongside homeless a project called Mother and Daughter, Reconnection of the Roots Culture, and that's being exhibited on the 25th in San Jose at the Immigration Relations Office, and that's really about immigrant mothers in this country, and different nationalities, different races, and the struggle of keeping up the culture, teaching the passage, it's a cultural passage to the child, and the mother and daughter relationship and the struggles. So I actually created workshops. My first one was launched in Monterey, where it's based as creating workshops, discussions, and then actually taking the photography there in that workshop.
My last question would just be any final comments. Would you like to let anyone at home know about this exhibition, because it is going on for almost the whole rest of this month, it seems like. Would you like enlighten anybody about this, and if they haven't heard about it, should they come?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, the project, the exhibition at Gilroy's Art Center for Arts in Gilroy is going to be till the 26th of January, and everybody from all different cities are welcome to come and visit it. I highly recommend it. because it's designed with still photography, storyboards. We spent days and days transcribing the interviews and creating the storyboards. You can also go to my website, and on the website are the longer versions of the interviews that which you can follow alongside. Also, we created short films, stories, and interviews. So it's very much a multimedia, interactive, very real in your face, because the issue is real, these people are real, and we need to be really, really open and receiving to this issue. It's obviously here, and we can't avoid it anymore.
What are your thoughts that your story is being shared here today?
I'm glad that the story is being able to be shared here because it's a big problem. It's homelessness. It's not really easy to be taken care of. I'm glad that people are actually able to put their stories out and get their side of the story.
What are your thoughts that she's not only she's doing here in Gilroy and Morgan, but she's planning on doing it in other cities in California to bring awareness more to the homelessness issue?
Yeah, I'm glad that she's doing this because it's a huge problem.
I agree. I hope this exhibition spreads more because it's good to make sure people understand that this is an issue and it needs to be seen with more helpful handing than instead of just skepticalness and cynicism. So, I mean, is there anything you let people know? I mean, I've kind of touched on what your thoughts are.
I like what people are doing. See on the streets. Some of them may be crazy, some of them may act angry towards me, but then people do have feelings, so it's just kind of great.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention for just a couple of moments, please. Thank you very much. Sweet. Thank you all for being here today, and welcome to the Gilroy Center for the Arts. My name is Kevin Heath. I am the Executive Director here at the Center, and it is wonderful to have all of you come out and be part of our opening reception for Homeless Voices today. I want to put a couple of welcomes and thank yous out to Assemblymember Robert Rivas, who's here today, members of the Compassion Center, and on behalf of the Gilroy Arts Alliance Board, which is the board that runs the center here, thank you all for being here today. I'd also like to welcome members of Kirti's family I know that are here today. We are, one of our roles here at the center is to educate through art. And whether it's through social issues, cultural focus, traditional art exhibits, theater, music, classes, whatever, part of our role is to educate and to expand the horizons of our community. This is a perfect example of what we do here, and we were so fortunate to have Kirti come along and knock on the door one day and say, hey, can we do this? We are very fortunate to have her here. The reason that we are here today, of course, is for Kirti's work. So I would like to take an opportunity to introduce you to the artist, and she will have a few words for you, and then she's going to premiere her video that she worked on as part of this exhibit. This exhibit is created through a lot of passion, a lot of dedication, a lot of really hard work behind the scenes. Sometimes people don't realize what artists go through to put together something like this. Having seen what Kirti has gone through to put this together, there's no doubt in my mind the reason that this came out so well. She has done incredible work on this behind the scenes, and we thank you for that, Kirti, for all of your hard work on this and for bringing this to the Center for the Arts. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to the real talent, Kirti.
I'd like to thank Kevin. Kevin, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, opening the space at the center when you were booked, and you saw the vision and you believed in the project, and I thank you for that. Hi, welcome everybody. It's wonderful to see so many faces and the support we have. My name is Kirti. Excuse me, I'm going to be reading from here. I'm a local photographer and a storyteller working on social issues. I grew up in England, and I did a fine art photography course where I worked with a project called Voiceless. That was a project that was very personal to me, that was a struggle between the East and West and the struggles of an Indian woman. It was received really well. I moved in the 90s to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I became very much interested in this project, the homeless community project, back in 2011 with the Occupy movement. I started visiting shelters, meeting the local community there, and listening to their compelling stories. And the more I heard, the more I realized that these stories need to be put out there. Unfortunately, that project was put on hold because I had the opportunity to actually take my camera and travel and take amazing photographs of landscapes and tell my stories as I traveled from one town to another. We came to California, and as we traveled to California, we started seeing the homelessness issues arising, and they're becoming larger and larger. We settled here in Morgan Hill, part-time in San Benito County, and I had the pleasure of meeting the team at the Compassion Center, who's an amazing team. Thank you, everyone. Shout out to them. And it's a day center, and they introduced me to some of the homeless community there, and I started following, researching, meeting these amazing people who, some of you are here. And honestly, without you guys, this wouldn't happen. If you didn't trust me and didn't have the faith in this project, I wouldn't be here today. So thank you so much to my homeless friends. I guess the mission and the vision I have for this project is creating a platform that dispels the myth of what homelessness is, crime, mental illness, all the criminal activities, and being scared. So I really wanted to create a platform or create this project to dispel that, the preconception, and bring some normality to these people. Because as we are all aware, wildfires, the low income versus the high rent costs. I just heard today that Monterey County has 1 out of 10 child in school is homeless. That's staggering. Santa Cruz, 7%. Monterey County is one of the largest counties, aside from San Francisco, anywhere. It is large, it's leading right now. So it's scary meeting these families and children especially. So it's very important for this message to go out from one city to another. So the mission is to take this from one city to another, collect the stories, move it, expand it just the way the homeless community is expanding, and hopefully through awareness we may make changes, get policy leaders, local counties to make changes. Gilroy urgently needs a place for these people to stay, get some funding, make a camp, something that's safe for them. They're being moved every single week, 2 weeks. Their stuff being either destroyed or they have to move and feel displaced. And that causes a mental illness. It causes people to maybe take something to calm them down. They need the support here, and I really hope that through this exhibition, we bring awareness and these people are helped, because these are human beings, we're all human beings. I'd like to say thank you to my amazing supporters, sponsors. Without them, this could have never happened, because I was really stuck. Ironically, it was different. I had a location, a gallery, but I didn't have the funds. So without First Street Coffee, Jackie, you were amazing. You are amazing. And I'm here today, Curtis from Hillview Design. He's the one that donated all these storyboards, and without his creativity and donation, we couldn't have had these stories. New Wood Salvation, they donated some story. Obviously, the Gilroy Art Center and the gallery. Without that, we couldn't have happened. So there's been amazing sponsors, supporters on GoFundMe, Facebook, volunteers, Rishi Burr and Natasha Burr with the transcripts for days, Daniel Porter, These are all amazing, amazing volunteers. If I forget anybody, please forgive me. My husband David for all his hard work. And most importantly, I want to thank my homeless friends who've become friends now for giving me the stories. We have a fundraiser, we have a GoFundMe, we're really looking for some funding to move this forward and we really need the help. We have some items here that we're selling. I have a GoFundMe account. So anyway, you're able to help. We're looking for philanthropists, individual, an organization to help this move forward. So thank you. And we have a presentation that we'd like you to see.
What does home mean to you? Home means to me the home store in California. Whether I have a house or apartment, or I'm in my truck, or I'm in the local park camping, home is yours.
We can come closer, guys, if you need to.
Home is a place where you can settle, feel safe, not have to worry about anything. Not necessarily a house. What does home mean to me? It means safety and serenity and peace. That's what home is. It's hard to live here. You're being alone out there. Okay. And really, I really not fight. But I mean, if I die, I have to fight everybody. And I have to kids I have to worry about. You know that? It sucks. All the happened that I have heard stories of England. And now, when I have there's honestly just trying as hard for women, but they are supposed to always be strong. People are like, hey, don't please, we're not so different, you and I. We have a lot of similarities on the inside and the outside. We are humans, we are men, women, we're children, we're the same, even though we're not financially equal, we're equal in God's eyes and we're equal to each other. From the top, because I am a big guy and a big boy, so life is very hard for a lot of us because we had to build this shell around our heart and around us. We're no longer equal, we have left.
We have 4 stories. The whole thing is about 13 minutes. So if you can, this is the story for Sally. And we'll keep running this. So if you're not able to hear, it'll be continued after this.
Birthday on August 7th, I'm going to be 58 years old. I didn't become homeless until the middle of June 2016. First time in my whole life, 2 years ago, that I've ever been homeless. And it was due to a chain of events. My husband got very sick with breast cancer, and he passed away within 9 months. And I was like, well, I kept up the car payments and the house payments and everything for 6 months, and then all the money was gone. Here along the creek here next door, just a very good friend of mine who I trust, on and off for a couple of years now, and it's been a good safe place. Some people moved in that didn't make it, it wasn't a safe thing to your attention. Unfortunately, most of the homeless people that make us look bad are the ones that do things they shouldn't do, break the law and things like that, and so we tend to get grouped as all being the same. And I just want people to know that we're not all like that, this is a lot of decent, hardworking people, and we don't want to be this, we don't want to live this way,
Guys, if you can keep the voice down a little bit.
You have the best friends I've ever made in my life out here. You can see it off my back. You know, even when you don't have it. And that's why.
What advice would you have for women out there who are working, living, who at any point, any one of us could be in predicament, so life circumstances could put you in this?
Well, that's a good question. Try to, be prepared in terms of saving any money you can to have some money isolated and put away that's separate that you'll have there, and know you have there, if you need it. And other than that, just like I said, strengthen numbers and watch out for each other.
Give me an experience of what your most terrifying experiences.
I was riding the bus, the 68 in San Jose. It was downtown, and I was standing in the light rail platform to get the bus back. It was about 10 o'clock at night. And I was standing there, and there was other people around, but I wasn't isolated. And from across the street over here, a black man came running straight from me, and I didn't see it until he was right here. And he ran into me like a football player tackles somebody. He knocked me off my feet into the hard metal bench edge, and my ribs and the back went into it. I fell to the ground, and I broke some ribs in my back. I was in the hospital. The sheriffs came and took a report, and they said he did a similar crime a couple blocks away to another one quite quickly. And it's terrifying because now I understand what like post-traumatic stress is like, because I kept seeing it in my mind. I kept seeing this guy rushing at me wherever I went for months and months and months, and it was terrifying. You know, it's never happened to me. And so that was really.
What does home mean to you?
Home means to me a sanctuary from the world where you can go and feel safe and secure and safe. I can't think of a better word. And then it's just your own little place. My house home is mine, and I miss that. You know, because all my possessions are gone, and I don't have no place to live anymore. And it's just home. This isn't home. You know, it's not how I want to live. You know, and I hope that home is there someday.
We have a couple more stories. I can either switch it off right now.
The other day, and they just ran ID checks, you know what I mean? Well, you know you're trespassing, you don't say. Police are BS. They come through, take your stuff, and you know, they bring a garbage truck. You know, I'm thinking, says, oh, you can contact so-and-so and get your stuff within 90 days. We'll hold it and everything. But how are they holding your stuff when they bring the garbage truck through and compact it as they're going? You know, I've lost 3 tenths in these sweeps.
Some people think that it's like it's living like just a bit of a cage.
There's some people, yeah, right. You know, they take homelessness, you know, from a state of mind to a state of being, because they made a conscious decision to say, well, this is all my life has worked. This is it. This is what I got. And that's just how they, you know, that's their thought process. It's sad, but usually it's because of drugs or alcohol that they have that thought process.
It needs to be said that, you know, people who talk about give up and don't try anymore and then you know, life forever. It's not the major percentage of us.
I know, I'm not, no.
The world will never see the regular people.
Right. The people that are working hard trying to do things done right, or in the shadows, well, the people that are out there doing things for the wrong reasons are out there, right, are trying to, you know, get money from their dad or whatever. They're out there, you know, and that's what people see. Yeah, exactly. They don't see us in the shadows. People that are trying to make a living, people that are trying to build legends. You know?
This is our last story with Fabiola. You're going to meet Fabiola in a few minutes. So this is her story.
The kids all in Muslim country, yes, too. And, we're glad to get it back. But there's kind of different people more beyond that. I guess you think the way to pick up under the target for everybody. Then you can have on. I've been told already, why don't I adopt them? Give up adoption. Not here? Well, that's where you can get right. Pretty much that's it for me. So one of the kids who was sick was appointment, passed away. That was a little typo. It wasn't supposed to be your I know that. Help me. Okay, then 2000, our fault. We won't be living in luxury, we'll be living in home. Just like every time I wanted to getting cold, I'm like, I'm not kidding. My kids are troopers. Like today, they've been horrible. People that don't have money, I want to give my kids stuff. I've been given clothes to their toys, cash, their last color. Because I do like my son going to because he comes out of Catholic while I'm stuff. Like I told my son, I got them to take them out. Just make sure that, you know, nobody's going to take our cats. And they were surprised that that's where the woman comes in and give them all. They're like, oh, I can't wait, you have your mom. Stuff like that. Part of it is just being a woman out there. Because I really had a very nice life. My dad, I guess, and I have the kids I have to worry about. And give kids no adoption to the in-laws. But now I know why a lot of these women give up their kids.
I apologize for the sound. I'm sorry it was a little low, but we're going to continue keeping these movies on. So you're welcome to come and look at it later. Wanted to introduce our two friends out here, Fabiola and Matthew. Fabiola and Matthew.
I saw Matthew go out the door.
He had to go get his phone.
Okay. These are amazing people trying to survive the hardships. You saw Fabiola's story with her 3 children, one disabled living in a van. And I have so much respect for Fabiola. Go ahead. Thank you. I know this is hard. Beautiful, beautiful children. Fabiola, if you'd like to share a few words with us.
I'm Fabiola Batas. I'm 37. I got 3 kids. The same. Alex, being mine, he is disabled, but movable. He starts to wander around now. Bruce here, a little champion. Then I have Destiny, who's 3. It's been a tough go. A year and plus months, and people have been trying to help us any way they can. But on the way, you got to see a lot of other families, other kids. And the beauty part is that kids help other kids in a way. Like they teach us the lectures instead of us teaching them. Like you would think this guy would be all unhappy or this one fighting more or this one just listening to me. But my kids have been troopers. And like I said, I messed up on them one way or another. And my job is to make it up to them any way I can. So, hoping this year will be our year before we get up again, all of us. Plus the dog we also have, literally their dog, but mostly his. He awares me about seizures and stuff. So it's kind of like a service dog that he doesn't pass the test. So.
Fabiola, tell us a little bit about what's your hopes? What would you like to see?
What I like to see is people not to be scared to ask questions towards homeless, or for us homeless to ask for help. Because what was it like? You already get those looks, or you get those smirks, and it hurts. You know, some of us try to hide it any way we can, but when we got these little kids, it's like there's no way of hiding it. And just to treat everybody with respect. You know, that'll go a long way, because this is the next generation. I don't want them out there, because kids don't have to be out there.
So currently you're looking for an apartment? What is it you're looking for? What is it you'd like?
My goal is actually to just buy a little property for these kids. Not for me, also for him. This way I know he will be secure. We never have to go through something like this. In case I'm not there and he's by himself with brothers and sisters, those will take care of him. My little man over here has a little problem. When he goes to sleep, he screams and yells. And the parents are not really happy with it. The shelters, the same problem we had there. But we felt the love this community has offered us. In the shelter with the soldiers, Compassion Center, the churches, random people, hook me up on Facebook. What's up, how are you guys doing? And they'll try to help any way they can. This actually Gilroy had gave me a pretty cool Christmas. I was at Brazil Hotel. Done with the paper and I was grateful for that part. The kids were happy.
Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for trusting us to tell the story. Appreciate that. Matthew, would you like to come and share your story? Matthew is an amazing young romantic. Matthew, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Matthew Hernandez. 28. Single, newly homeless. I have a son, technically 2 sons, but the one I'm pretty much trying to get a full custody of my oldest son. He's at 3.5. So I'm in the process of doing that while being homeless, and it sucks. But it's all good. I'm trying to make the best of it. Positivity is really helping out, and yeah, it's going pretty good so far.
What would you like to see for yourself in the future?
Better employment, I guess, or more employment, I should say. But with my CPS case right now, it's kind of hard to keep a job because I have to go through a lot of court mandated crap.
What kind of needs do you have right now?
Needs? Basically, I'm lucky I have a car because a lot of people don't have that, and I can stay in there. But pretty much, I guess a house. The necessity would be a house for my son. Hopefully, I'm going to see the judge again in April, and that should be my deciding factor when if I'm going to get him or not. But I'm pretty confident I'm going to get him. It's just what am I going to do when I get him?
Yeah, you have to have a place already.
Exactly. And it's kind of hard in this area. 2 bedrooms, like $2,500, $3,000. Good.
But you're fine.
No worries, okay.
Any more questions? Okay. Thank you for sharing. Matthew, did you share that you're working?
Yeah. You're currently working in the security field?
Yes. I'm really proud of you. Keep that up. Thank you so much. I wanted to introduce Jan. Before I do, I did want to let you know that we have raffle tickets here. We're trying to get fundraising going, so Natasha here is going to be sitting here. Anybody who wants to purchase them, we're going to do a drawing in a little while.
What are they for how many?
Yes, sorry, one ticket for $3 and 4 for 10. 4 for 10 and one ticket for 3. They have amazing gifts by photography, winery, Fortino, Carrigan, Hacker Pass, they all donated some wine, and Sarah, $80. They've been amazing. I'm really grateful to them. Jan, thank you so much for wanting to share your story. Here's Jan.
All right.
Let me just introduce you.
Oh, you want to introduce me? Yes, go ahead.
Jan is a very, very special lady. I met her through the Compassion Center. She's a founder one of the co-founders of the Compassion Center, and I had the pleasure of meeting her and her group. And as we continue with the story, she wanted to share her own story. So she's actually part of our project also here. So if you could take some time and listen to Jen for a second. So she's also the founder of Compassion Center, as well as one of the co-founders and one of our stories.
Okay, I just want to thank Kirti. Now I function on a volunteer basis as the acting executive director of Compassion Center, but I want to recognize a few people who are in the room right now. I see we have some elected officials, and I just want to recognize our State Assemblyman Robert Rivas, and thank you. I'm very delighted that you're here. Very delighted that you're here. And from Morgan Hill, John Horner, thank you. And also the board chair for the Compassion Center, Reed Lerner, is here. We also have some superheroes here, some of them part of the show, and that is the staff of Compassion Center. Janessa Villarreal, and Francesca Pace is here, and they do an incredible amount. I also saw Delene Pierce here. Is Dee still here?
They just left.
Oh, okay. She was the
Baby duties call.
Compassion Center's first volunteer, first employee, and was our program director for 6 years before moving. And so I'm glad she was here. Tell you a little bit about myself. The only thing I want to say, it's been, I told Kirti, you can put me in the show, because I was homeless for a period in my 20s. And what people don't realize about homelessness is it's not a permanent state of being, and it's something inherent. It describes your current living situation. That's what the word means. And when you see somebody who's homeless, you don't know where they lived yesterday, and you don't know where they're going to live tomorrow. And the same thing is true for people who live in houses, right? We don't know who's going to be homeless. Everybody who's been homeless was at one time housed and will be again. Right, and one of the things we do at the Compassion Center is help people to get back on that path to housing, to permanent housing. We've done surveys. There's this misconception that people who are homeless are enjoying the lifestyle and don't want housing. And you know what? So many people say this, and I'm sure that guy is out there. Okay, but I haven't met him in 30 years of doing this kind of work. Most people who are homeless want housing. They're looking for a place to live, a place that's safe, and a place that's legal, and a place where they can store their stuff, and a place that has a door that closes and locks, okay? And a place where you can leave your things and come back and they're still there, and a place where when you're having a bad day you can go and close the door and be alone. and invite friends over or have your family, you know, a place to live. That's what people want. That's what, you know, I'm sure that one person is out there who's homeless and likes the lifestyle of being rousted by the police, having their things taken, getting beaten up, and all that. That person may be out there, but again, I've never met him. I want to thank everybody who's here. I want to thank Kirti for bringing these stories to life. These are all on your website, right?
Yes, the longer version of these stories, there's QR codes here. You can either download the QR code or you can, with iPhone, get that. You can go to my website and under Homeless Voices, each story in the longer version, completely the whole interview is actually in there, so you really get an in-depth idea of what you know, what's the circumstances were that brought these people here, and we're going to continue these stories and adding to them, and so our biggest challenge right now is getting the funding to move to the next step.
You know, for everything, and you know what, the amount of work that went into telling these stories is just incredible. And I think one of the things I take away from it, and that I hope you take away from it, is how different they all are. I mean, there is no typical homeless person. There isn't. We see everybody, every walk of life, every background here. We see every age group here. And that doesn't mean the situation's hopeless, because the truth is we know exactly how to solve the problem. It is not complicated. Okay, housing solves homelessness, and there is no way around that. There's no way around that. If we can get the right housing, okay, because everybody needs something different. Everybody needs, you know, some people are going to need a bigger house, and some people will need a small apartment. And look, some people can live in a tiny home, right? And these are all great housing solutions. And the hardest part isn't even getting the money to do it, even though it costs money. The hardest part is getting
the permits
to say
the city.
Yes. The hardest part is getting to the word yes. And that's where everybody comes in. I see a lot of people here who volunteer, and we need you to do that, and who donate money, and we need you to do that, and who donate supplies and clothing, and we need you to do that. And the other thing we need you to do is to share it, that when these decisions come up, when your city council is considering a housing development and there's low-income housing involved, or there's inclusionary zoning involved, or there are going to be units for the homeless involved, that you let them know that you support their voting yes on that, because they need to hear it from you, so they have the courage to do what they know is the right thing to do.
But the other point I wanted to make is, especially in Gilroy, hearing the stories, the sweeping. The sweeping is so hard on this community, and it's so distressing, and no wonder we've got mental illnesses and depression. And Gilroy needs to have a park or some kind of a land allocated, like San Jose, Oakland, Berkeley, Santa Cruz. You know, it's a small town, but unfortunately these small towns are having this
even
larger...
Morgan Hill, we've got our Focus Safe Parking Program that is wonderful with the support of the city and the support of the faith community. We don't have anything like that in Gilroy. South County only has no year-round shelter. This is very important for everybody to know. On April 1st, all the people staying in the Armory will be back on the street again, because there's no year-round shelter. We just got the family shelter at Ochoa open. It's going to be open through March 15th, and then all those families are back on the street again. We need year-round support, and you know, this is something we can all talk about and advocate for. And you're right. And meanwhile, taking people's tents and chasing them RVs and chasing them from place to place doesn't help them and doesn't help us as a community.
Especially children.
Anyway, I carry this soapbox everywhere I go. If you'd like me to expound upon it, just say the word, and I'll be any place you want me to talk on this subject. Thank you.